Hi and welcome to a new tutorial. Today I will show you how to make out of this scene this one. That means we will do interior lighting and I will show you different techniques how you can do this and also how you can do indirect lighting. That means when you get into the night and switch on here lamps or indirect lighting, but this will be at the end. In the beginning, I will show you how to create some daylight and how to create some background images. So let's get right into it. I have a completely empty scene, empty of materials. I just have the standard lampard on it, and the first thing I will do is I just take my glass walls, and I hope you have this as separate materials because as separate models because it works better. The glass works better, so be sure that there you see here it's just simple cubes, and I assign here a new material. Go here to standard surface, what's our normal surface, and a switch here, a preset to glass, so that I get light into my scene. Now there are two possibilities. The first one is to use an HDR image. I have here some prepared actually. Okay, here in my scene I have a lot of materials, they will come later, but from the internet I downloaded myself a lot of or some of HDRs from hdrihaven.com. For example, yeah, go to this site, check yourself some HDRIs. They are fully free, and when you, for example, whatever you want in the background or for your lighting, actually the HDRs are for also lighting your scene, and you can download them free in any size. Of course, when you do a high resolution rendering, also make sure that you have a high resolution background. So I know they are quite big, but use one of them, 8K or 16K. I just used here 4K in my scene because that's fully enough. But if you do a rendering with, I don't know, 4K or 8K, also use proper HDRs. Okay, get back to our scene. Actually, the thing with the HDR I will show you later. The first thing I will show you is here with the lights and with the physical sky. The physical sky is actually imitating sunlight, and when I activate this, you see here I get an AI skydom light, and maybe you have also this option where I could actually here switch the renderer to Arnold, and there I get my little pop-up, and so I see something already in my scene. And now it's my turn. I can just stop here the simulating of rendering. You could also do this with Arnold render, then you get an extra window. I just do it in that way. It's everything the same. So I will adjust my skydom light. Of course, when I select here, I can increase intensity here, but actually I want to go into my color and check. These are the things I could do with my sun. So what I need to do, actually, I will raise my intensity, but I don't see a sun already there, and so I will change some of the values and see that my sun is coming in. It depends, of course, how your scene is rotated. Be sure that your scene is also as big that it fits here in the grid you have. Remember, one grid space here is 1 meter, and the light is also calculating in a natural way, in natural dimensions. So be sure that your scene is quite, yeah, it's small enough, okay? But also not too tiny. So, you see here, sunlight is coming in already and lights up my scene. And now I can change here different things. Of course, here with that one, I don't know how it is pronounced. It's actually, okay, where's the sun? In which angle does the sun come in? With the elevation, I can say, okay, how deep or high the sun is falling. And it's also, when I change the elevation of the sun, it's actually morning light. I switch my intensity to 7 or 8 already, so that I get more light in the scene. And you see the effect that when I have here the elevation to actually quite high, this is the morning sun that comes in, and it is blue tinted. And when I drop this down to actually the evening sun, you see immediately that my scene is getting really yellow, because the evening light, of course, has long shadows with a yellow tint. So you decide how your light should look like. Okay, so I'm just playing around here a little bit and let here the sun drop quite flat here in the evening light. And you see, of course, there's a lot of grain and noise in the scene, and the renderer is here working in buckets. You may also hear it at my computer that it is working, and it is still here working at do a better rendering. Okay, so that's just preview. So you don't see here, and when I switch here to select any stuff in my scene, I also see here the light of the outside, and it's quite bright, of course. And actually there is, when you go here, because of the intensity, everything is actually white outside. And I will add here a landscape later on, or maybe we do it right at the beginning. Yeah, let's do it right here. So I just press play and pause here to stop my preview rendering. And what I prepared here is actually a landscape shape, and I can unhide it with Control-Shift-H. And what I've done actually is just I created a cylinder, okay, and you scale it and took my subdivisions to 50, my subdivision caps to 0, and just deleted here the inner and outer cap. And what I also did was I switched the direction because I want here the inside to be the outside. So go to Mesh Display Reverse so that the inner part gets gray, okay? And place this thing around your scene when you want to have a background like this. And what you also do is, of course, adding an image. And for that, I assign a new material, and instead of our standard surface, I use here AI flat. That means actually this is just a material without any reflections or stuff, because we don't want to have any reflections, or that the material is just the color of the image. So that's the reason why I use AI flat. And I get myself a file here into the color image name. I have prepared here somewhere my mountain panorama. You can choose any image you want. Of course, a panorama would be good, but be sure that your image isn't bigger than 8K, because in one direction, because actually I have here, where do you have it? Yeah. When you use, for example, 12,000 pixels in one direction, Maya won't work with it. So I just tried, this is the maximum one. Maybe your computer is able to do more, but be sure that the longest part is here, 8K. Okay, open. And so, of course, you can rotate your panorama as you want to have it. And I just go here inside my view and let's see if I see anything. I will see something now, but hopefully my Maya doesn't crash. No, good. You see, actually it's working quite well, but the reason why is actually because I switched already some stuff here on my landscape shape, because you have other stuff switched. This stuff is switched on at your mesh, so be sure that you go here in the shape window, open here the tab with Arnold, because now my image is in the way of the sunlight, so the sunlight can't go through it because it drops shadows. And what I do is switch here some of the stuff. So go here to switch off opaque. Don't switch off the primary visibility, but switch off the cast shadows, and here we go. We have most of the things done here. And I also switch off actually this stuff. Don't switch off specular transmission and diffuse transmission, because otherwise I can't see it through the window. So that other things you have to switch off to see your image, and that the sunlight can go through this thing. And of course, maybe you have to switch off here my rendering again. In the panorama, of course mine fit already, but if yours don't fit, then open up the UV editor, and when you select the shell here, of course you can see it here, maybe you can of course scale or however your image should look like or fit to your scene, that it's not too much stretched. Just check that your image looks good here, and I see here my my textures ending here, so I'm just rotating the scene that I don't see that. Okay, then go back into our scene. Check here my rendering again. Yeah, that's the first setup you have to do. And I'm just adding some information about doing better or denoised images, because so I check here with my settings what you can do. No, actually before I switch on here render again, just forget one thing. What you can also change is, what I like is actually turbidity. It's kind of how should I say? I just show you. Maybe we'll see something. Yeah. It's not a fog, but a little bit of some kind not perfect sunlight. It's that the sun is actually more disturbed by by clouds or something. Okay, so, and I find this light actually a little bit more natural, that it isn't perfect sunlight. Of course, when you have a perfect Sunday midday night, you could leave here this value. You see it's getting harder, and here the light is getting a little bit softer. Also play with that. So when you want to actually do here some more colors in the sun or in the light, you can also do that actually, but it's fully up to you. So have fun playing around with this stuff here. And so switch off here to my noisiness. And what you should do for better renderings or for the test renderings is to check here the settings. When you do test renderings, okay, then just do here in the Arnold renderer a setting of 221122. That is, of course, and also I have here just the HD, just this small image resolution, and this is the result that we get. So let's check how long it takes. This is the preview quality. Of course, it's very, very noisy. And when you want to check, okay, how does the rendering really work, then so just waiting that this is finished. And what I also do often is here keep image. That means it saves my image and I can do another rendering and then I check what is the difference. And when I do here the settings for your final rendering should be or could be 5 5 5 3 2 2. Now this will take a lot of longer time. I see here now it took around 30 seconds, and now I do another rendering. I kept my image here before, and with the new values do a rendering again. So rendering is finished, but this one takes nearly 15 minutes. Of course it looks a lot better, but we don't have any materials now in the scene and it still takes quite long. So the settings here, please just use for the final image. When you do HD or 2K or 4K rendering, your image will take maybe 2, 5, 10, 20 hours, I don't know. It depends of course on the reflections, on the materials you have, of course, on every and the resolution, of course. So just be prepared that your renderings are good at the end. But now for the moment we just decrease this again to, I do a value here in between, so 3211, and this is quite okay for our test renderings. Okay, good. Next step is I show you the other method, so using a HDR, and then we are going into the materials, and the materials of course will make the scene a lot more real, because now I have the standard gray on it, the standard Lambert, and this is of course just the basic setup, and I'll show you here the next step. I saved this image here also because I might need it later. So when you want to do the whole scene with an HDR, I now just hide my landscape here and I get rid of my physical sky and do instead lights, skydome light, also actually skydome, I just want to have a fresh one, and go here into the color, add a file, and the file I use an HDR here. So whatever you like, I take here the lakeside and see what happens. Now I have, you see here a sphere around with the scene. And of course it depends how I rotate here the scene where I want my sun to be. So just go here inside and I switch here my preview rendering on and see what happens. Yeah, here we go. So now this image is lighting up our scene in the style that the image is, of course, when you have a brighter or whatever. So now you have to be, of course, it's quite dark in here still. So let's check here into our image. Maybe we increase the intensity a little bit. Yes, you see, of course, it will get quite bright. I can tune this later on a little bit with the materials, but well, that's the scene. So we have a lot of light in here, and when I am trying to rotate so that I don't have this flat deep light here. So see what happens when I rotate. I try if when I decrease here my exposure instead of the intensity, well, it doesn't, yeah, the scene here around gets a little bit brighter, but also the stuff here is really white. So, but this is quite okay. I have adjusted here then the materials a little bit, but you have to do such a hard light and a high exposure or high intensity, it doesn't matter, that your scene is light up quite well. Yeah, that are the two possibilities. So either you take the physical sky and do find it here and do a landscape around it, or you choose here the method with an HDR image, and when I change here, for example, just to show you how the light is affected, when I take here a night scene, for example, you see I get a completely different light here. Of course, it's quite intense scene, but then you can create this night light, of course, or any daytime you like to have in your scene. So just choose. It's your option that you have. And the last tip, when you have an NVIDIA graphics card, then I would recommend you this tutorial here. It's about the optics denoiser, but it works only with NVIDIA GPUs only. So check out this tutorial, and you will get noise-free renderings in minutes, okay, or in seconds, because this denoiser works quite well. So check this out, how you can use this, and you will get quite nice renderings with that. So yeah, that's just a tip. for the ones who have NVIDIA graphics card. I don't have this, so but you can try it on your own if you want good images in a short time.